What's up, YouTube? So I'm back for another vlog, and this one looks different, but I wanted to jump on here and give you guys kind of this visual reference. And I've just watched Life Taps and Backstabs Diablo's video on this, and man, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. You know, if you haven't read this yet, and I'm not going to read this totally, but I'm just going to kind of talk through it. And I think the genuine approach is good. Like, I think it's coming from a good place, because I don't think that the attributes are in a good place at all. You know, and what they're choosing for each stat and what it's related to is kind of silly in my mind. Some of them are good, and majority of them are pretty sound, but like, you know, they say right here, with each attribute should have a distinct impact on the character performance, although that impact does not have to be the same for all classes, which I agree. I think, you know, some attributes can relate to different classes, you know, to different classes differently, you know, which is cool. But, man, the changes, it's like, great idea, you know, great, intent, great intent, poor execution, man. Poor execution. If this is what they want to do. And I don't want to beat them up too much because, you know, yeah. Let's just look at what's changing. With all that in mind, here are the changes that we will be making in the combat and progression update. The Constitution attribute is being removed and replaced with the new attribute, Concentration. Yep. Terrible. Just like, come on, man. I can't make this up. The Charisma attribute is being removed and replaced with a new attribute named Presence. The base effect of all our attributes are being reworked to be more intuitive and meaningful. Good. I like that. The attributes used by class abilities are being realigned for more synergy between classes in the same archetype or role. And I don't know what they mean by this of archetype and role. Is it tank, healer, DPS, crowd control, or is it casters, melees, you know? And Diablo said it was melees and stuff, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But these changes will generally help items to be more useful to multiple classes than they are today. They will also make the process of picking up a new class and understanding how to gear it that much more intuitive for everyone, which is good because, you know, it's what do you stack? What's the stat you want and what class, you know, like there's majority of the classes have like 3 to 4 primary stats, and it's just like stats that are meaningful to the class, which is a good thing in theory, but like you can't gear your guy to be better, you know, if you don't have 1 or 2 particular stats that you want to go after mainly. And you can have other stats that are impactful, but you should have at least one that's the forefront of what you want, you know, i.e. strength for warrior for damage. And the other ones, if you're going DPS spec, that is, I mean, you know, but yeah, whereas like Dex would be able to help you with being able to hit the mob, but you know, hit rating in this game is irrelevant once you can actually hit the mob and once you're at the level of it. It's hit rating is only important when you're not at that current level of the mob and you're fighting stuff that's higher than you, which is good in a sense of grinding and being in camps and fighting red mobs, orange mobs, the purple mobs, color con mobs that they're going to add. So, in hindsight, that could be good if that's kind of your play style. But if you're just fighting, you know, soloing or, 1s and 2s in your group, you know, hitting the mob is not going to be that relevant, you know, you're not going to need it because you're going to just primarily hit the mob. We'll see through the changes of what they want to do. I know they talked about that in the past and they want to change that, especially with the unified NPCs. But let's keep going. There will still be multiple attributes that each class will want to improve, and meaningful choices will still be present, but those choices will make more sense than they have in the past. Okay, well, good. So here are the details. Here's the breakdown, the baseline benefits. So strength will be raw physical power. I like that aesthetically and, or thematically and systematically. Bonuses to melee auto attack damage and carrying capacity. I think carrying capacity definitely for everyone. I think auto attack damage for warrior. Between the paladin and the dire lord. I would like to see one of those be dexed, whether it's paladin or dire lord. Probably the dire lord. I don't know. I will make the paladin dex, but it would be cool to be able to build your warrior off of dex. So, how they can make that work. But anyways, cool. I don't think that rogues and rangers should use strength, primarily if carrying capacity. I understand, like, maybe you can change it to where strength has a different bonus and benefit towards them. Maybe, it's a requirement to use some weapons, but they, like, in terms of actually pulling the bow back, because you need raw physical strength for that. But I'm not going to go too much in the weeds of that. You want a system that's more just concrete that you can use throughout the whole game rather than specific little tiny areas. But they do want to make it more intuitive and whatnot. So, and meaningful. But let's continue. So dexterity is now hand-eye coordination, which that's exactly what dexterity means if you look it up. Bonus to ranged auto attack damage, parry chance, and melee crit chance, which is okay. I do want to see ranger, monk, and rogue be able to utilize this as damage rather. Maybe they get a spike from crit chance too with it, but that could be on a different stat as well. Agility, reflexes, ability to move more quickly, bonuses to dodge, chance, and armor class. So I just feel that armor class should just be on the armor you wear. I don't feel like you should get a flat armor increase by upping a certain stat. Like, that's what makes gear so good is like high armor, which helps reflect. I don't necessarily think that they need to have that. But what agility will do, or hopefully I would like to see in the future of happening, and I'll get to it in a moment, but let's move on to stamina. So stamina is now your physical health and fortitude, which I like, which I think they should have made stamina concentration and took stamina and put it as the resource for the warrior. And this is what I meant by, I'll tell you what I wanted to do with agility, but where the base martial resource, so like, a magical class uses mana, right? Well, a martial class uses stamina, and maybe two classes that are a hybrid of those use mana and stamina, right? So that's what I would like to see with that. But then agility comes in and is putting points in agility helps increasing your stamina as a baseline, like wisdom and intellect, and we'll get into it. I don't know why they kept stamina. Like, I feel like stamina could be used elsewhere, and it's way better than readiness, the naming and just how it could function. It could just fill up. You use it, it goes down to empty, and you just recharge it like mana, or maybe it goes the other way, like you build it up. But it doesn't make sense because stamina, you start full with stamina and then you deplenish. Maybe they can make it work in some other way other than just mana ticking down. But that's what I like to see with that. Concentration, I don't know. Yeah. So ability to focus and ignore distractions. This is primarily going to be for tanks, just letting you know. resistance to pushback from being hit in combat, resistance / reduction to some hostile control effects, stuns, silences, etc. So pretty much, I think that's a dumb stat, and they shouldn't even put this in the game. Let me know what you think in the comments, but man, yeah, dumb stat. All right, let's keep going. Intellect, mental acuity, problem solving, tactical thinking. Yeah, learning. I would say now knowledge, but knowledge is kind of gray between wisdom. But anyway, bonuses to mana pool and improved chance of spell criticals for some classes. I don't know why they're doing this, but like, why can't you just up your damage through intellect? Like, why, if I'm a wizard, I like spell crit, of course, spell crit's important, but why in this game are we making everything about crits? Like, why can't we just upgrade base damage, you know? And maybe for the wizard, wisdom increases their crit chance and crit damage if they have crit damage in the game, but we'll just say crit chance, where intellect is your damage and your mana. Like, I don't understand why they have to separate it like that, you know. Or sorry, not separate, but just only focus on crit chance. Like, why can't we up our raw damage? Like, we can up our raw damage with strength, which is our melee auto attack damage. Why don't we have a ranged auto attack damage through wands? Well, wands aren't in the game, but when they do get in the game, and staffs. Like, why, if I'm a necro and I'm using a staff, why can't I just auto attack at range? Like, why do I have to go up and smack the mob? I'd rather, like, the warrior use the staff that way of going up and smacking the mob, but like, why can't we just stand back and just auto attack cast? It just doesn't make any sense, especially that we have pets. Like, who's going to be in combat? We'll see what the mastery ends up being, but which they said a blood mage for the necromancer, but like, why can't I just auto attack? And like, I don't understand. Well, like, majority of games do it, and it's a good system. Why are we making a bad system just to be different? And yeah, it just, and these attribute changes don't look good, man. Don't look good. Wisdom. So this is basically the same thing. So this is just going to be shamans and druids. I'm not too sure which other one. I know summoner uses, and the summoner's dude, he uses like so many different stats, because his pet uses so many different stats, which is understandable. Like, the wind pet should use dex and not constitution, which it's not going to anymore. But anyways, so they go into the breakdown of like what the core attributes are and secondary thirds and whatnot, but this is all relative, I want to say. Like, maybe as a general overview, but once you add mastery, like, things are going to totally change, you know. Like, you're not going to probably care as much if you're going a warlord warrior. You're going to want more strength because you want more damage, physical raw output, you know. Also, agility could be attack speed. That just popped in my mind. So they want to make agility reflexes, so dodge chance, armor chance. So I would argue that these two under the warlord now become the first. So strength is core, agility is 2. Maybe you keep stamina as your secondary, probably. But being able to dodge, what is it? Dodge, chance, armor class. I feel like that's pretty impactful too, which is good. Like, I like choices, and I like, you know, building your class different from somebody else, and like, oh, I'm more dodge based, and, you know, I have higher armor, but no, I have more health, you know, which usually in old school MMOs and the like, health is a big important piece to a lot of the stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to go too much into this, but I just wanted to show and jump on here in my thoughts. But let me know what you guys think. Go through this and you know, what do you guys think is gonna? What do you think VR is gonna end up doing with this? Is this gonna be set in stone? Because they seem to keep changing a lot on the fly, and I'm okay with this, but I hope they roll this back or don't even put it in the game, because adjust what I said in the video, and I would love to see that. But yeah, see, they even have the primary class roles, which are standard, but it's gonna be interesting to see once you can off spec. Anyways, oh yeah, before we go, this just shows what they've been working on, and I want to lift up some of the good stuff that they're doing. I like the intent. I don't like the choices that they made and how they're going to go about stuff. Primarily, some of it's good. They've been doing a lot of stuff. They've been doing Body Dakara, which is going to be good once they can get in. Finalizing skills, abilities, mastery selections for warrior, paladins, and dire lords. This is going to be crucial. Once we know this, like fully locked in, that's going to be hype. Updated NPCs, dialogue, and Port of Rulan. I'm interested to see Port of Rulan. It sounds pretty cool. If it's going to be like a sprawling city, is it going to be like kind of this pirates rogue trader? You go there, kind of sell your goods. It's kind of like more of an evil city, evil port kind of thing that you could stop off of, that exists from close to Badia Dekara. Layout and mood paintings for Fairthale City. It's interesting. I like the art side of stuff, so seeing this stuff of Fairthale will be interesting coming to life, because we haven't seen it in years, man. They like, after the graphical changes and everything, like I haven't seen Fairthale in the longest time. You know, it looked good when they had the old system and what they were doing, especially with like how are they setting everything up. But it'd be interesting to go back and look at, you know, graphically what they changed and what they modified. You know, even on the layout of the zone, it's gonna be really interesting. Finalizing the biome Kosa Ol, jungle biome. They're getting in some Monarch villages. I wonder what these guys are. These guys sound cool. Maybe they're like fish people or more like tribal, Native American kind of culture kind of thing. Or yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Beginning to rebuild and expansion of port. Oh, sorry, I read that. Build out and environmental asset creations in Obsidian Depths. So they're getting into a lot of environments and zones, which is good because we want more content. Then they're doing, you know, touch-ups on the art side, adding stuff. They're finalizing a lot of stuff. So all these are getting finalized, which is cool. So these are new NPCs, clothing on NPCs, and updating more people's clothing, the Mawak male and female, the Gurlock models. Be interesting to see this in the lore. I really hope they bring forth the lore in this stuff to get us, you know, interested in this, because we have no sense of what the heck any of this is. Beginning to work on 3D NPCs moving forward and pathing for underwater and aerial environments. Beginning implementation of combat formula changes for progression. Okay, these are big. Continuing implementation of mastery system components. Initial implementation of mail and UI components and database hookup. Cool. Sounds good. Keep it up. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Have fun.